Hey guys, welcome in. My name's Coach Chris.
And I'm Tami Tomlinson, owner of Living Life Now.
Welcome to our channel where we discuss.
Integrative approaches and healthier living.
Hello and welcome back, Tammy.
Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Integrative approaches and healthier living. So excited to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good too. Doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So I've had, like we had a really quick chat like before this, and we fortunately were able to um remember to record it. So, but it kind of spills into this a little bit, and I've had something on my mind recently, like and just in general, and today I was just really heavily thinking about this morning, like in my mindfulness time, like my meditative time, and the power of perception, the power of perception, like how we perceive, people and things around us, and how much of like an impact that has on our lives. And like it's interesting, like, I know but as you know, like I'm a very like research oriented guy.
Which
And
I'm going to just interject here real quick. That's why we get along because we both love to do the research. So,
Yeah,
yes.
so I'm a very research oriented guy, as you know. Not only, yes, there's a lot of like research support, like the power of like perception, like how we perceive our world, like has like a very big impact on like how we're going to interact with it. A lot of the times we can see this like around us. And I know you've talked a lot recently about like nature and going out and like observing nature. And a story for everybody and you. So every morning, like we live in this beautiful, like my wife and I, we live in this beautiful like villa close to the Mediterranean. That sounds very bougie. But we do. And it's like kind of like in this complex area that encircles a pool. And in that area, there's lots of stray cats. All right. So there's lots of stray cats like in that area. People will feed the cats. And my wife always says, "Oh, like this, the place is called Martilla." And one thing I've observed, like and like people will feed the cats. Pretty much everybody does. And people are kind to them, will pet them, and so on and so forth. But one thing I've realized is that even though that environment is perfect for the cats, right? They're fed well, people are nice to them, they like them there. Um, there are some cats there that just are afraid of people. They, um, they, for whatever reason, like they just kind of have like a very different perception, we'll say, of their reality that they live in. And so these same cats will always noticeably have something going on with them. They're always like sick, or, you can tell they've been fighting with other cats, like they're beat up and they're fighting for food, like, and mind you, they're fighting for food in a place where I've walked around several times, there's that the food is plentiful, and so I'm talking to my wife this morning and I go, really, like in in a lot of ways, I go, this is like everyday life, like how we perceive others, how we perceive our surroundings can turn a place that's like heaven into a place that's like hell for us. And so yeah, I wanted to start that off by like talking about that story because there's no reason for these cats to be any worse off than other cats. We have a couple of cats that come to our door every morning, and they will, like, if I'm sitting out there having a cup of coffee, they'll sit there and they'll jump up into my lap and they want me to pet them. And, and because of one, they're not afraid of me, and two, they're kind to me. Like, speaking of our other thing about kindness, we don't ordinarily put food out, but we will feed them. We'll give them extra food. Not, and sometimes they don't even like want the food because again, there's so much food that's in this place. But they look like a house cat.
Mhm.
It's so interesting the difference, the dramatic difference. And we're not just talking about um, like how they look, like just their mannerisms, everything are so much different from one cat to the other. But a lot of it is just in how that cat perceives its reality, how that cat perceives others for their welfare or not. Um, so I thought that was quite interesting because I've run into, and I'm sure you've run into the same thing like with people. I'm going to turn it over to you. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Before we get into like, things that can like really help us shape our perception, or at least like not necessarily shape our perception, but like maybe help us point to the truth in our reality. Like, what are your thoughts on, before we get into that, the power of perception?
So yes, so the power of perception, is that what you said to me? What is how am I perceiving these this story,
No,
right?
what is not just what is your perception of the story? Like, what is your observations like with
Of life
perception
in
in
general,
general, life in
perception.
general? Yes, life in general. Um, how does that shape maybe our success in life? Um, our path in life.
Right, perceived circumstances is what's
Correct.
coming to my mind
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
absolutely. That's a great way of reframing that. Yeah.
Yeah, perceived circumstances. So yeah, yes, I don't want to say yeah, yes,
Perceived capability, I think, would be another thought. Perceived capability.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, go.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's all good because so you said that. So then, what popped into my brain, if I look to my own life, my own story,
Right,
perceived capability, perceived thoughts,
right,
what do I think? What do I feel like I can accomplish?
right,
Living in a body, right, with
right,
supposedly limited capabilities.
right,
What boundaries am I putting on myself? And so I
right,
think for a lot of people, I think we look to our individual circumstances and say, I'm not supposed to be able to do whatever it is, fill in the blank.
right,
Or the opposite, we have people, and I'm sure we know many of them, they're phenomenal. They're like, they don't care. They're gonna just break
right.
down walls and bust through all of their barriers and change them.
Yeah. The people that say like, oh, like every problem is an opportunity.
Exactly, exactly,
Like,
right?
yeah,
Or,
yeah.
yeah, and it goes back to the old adage, glass half empty, glass half full type of a
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
thing. And
Absolutely.
I know for like probably the first half of my life, I even though I didn't really feel like I was a glass half empty kind of a person,
Right,
as I've gotten older, I can look back and go, wow, I really, I really kind of was a half empty person. And
right.
as I've gotten older and lived longer and started to just continue to bust the barriers down, I'm like, shit, I'm a full glass girl. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm
Let's
gonna have
knock
to
all
put
the
a
walls
beep
down and
there.
yeah. What did you say?
No, no, I get it. I'm gonna say I'll have to put a beep there,
Yeah.
but no, I'm kidding. No, I agree. Honestly, like that's one of the reasons I love like working with you as your coach and such like that, on the other side of things, like because I think and I've told you this so many times, I think you're such an inspiration for good in regards to like showing, people, what's possible and having the right mindset and seeing the good and the positive things, not looking at what you're not capable of, but looking at what you're capable of and like how far that can take you. Um, and actually like comes back to like, one of the reasons I really wanted to start this podcast with you is because of that singular thing right there. But so that we don't like spiral, what what are some good practices that, just name like three off your head, like that you think are fundamental in helping somebody shift their perception on maybe their capabilities and their circumstances.
So the first thing that pops into my brain listening to you is, where are we spending our time? And that includes, what are we watching? What are we listening to? With whom are we spending our time? Read the stories, listen to the stories of the people that were, we all put, as they say, we all put our pants on the same way. We all put our shoes on,
Right.
one thing at a time. So
Yep.
yes.
I definitely agree with um, reviewing like the things that, people have been capable of, like especially like uh, people that fought their way up during times that weren't advantageous. Like I love, for example, like one of the people that I really think is amazing is Helen Keller. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hands down, during a time where women's rights was really not a thing, or just kind of just we'll just say it's really not what it is today.
Right.
And then also blind and deaf. But did that
Mm-hmm.
stop her? Did that stop her at all? Like she had everything going against her in a time period in that
Or
time period.
so, or so people thought, and we're
Yeah.
we're projecting that onto her, right?
Right,
And
right,
she was like, no, I don't stop me. I'm going to do
right. She
all the
just did.
things.
Yeah, she did all the things. I guess my add to that would be like as far as my practice, I think is hugely beneficial for shifting perception is gratitude journaling. Like gratitude journal.
100%.
What is it that you're thankful for? Like not focusing on, like I don't really for myself in my practice, nowadays my focus is even in my coaching, like in regards to nutrition, my focus is generally on you would be the exception to this because of obvious reasons. In regards to, because it's food sensitivities, and with food sensitivities, you cannot get around, things that need to avoid. But with the average person that I work with that's not food sensitive, it's more so like, okay, well, including the positives in your diet, which will lead you less room for the negatives. Now, on this side of things, like that for me is gratitude journaling. Like I tend to stay a little bit more away from like myself, like don't watch this, don't do this, don't like this, and more like, okay, like let's, you know, I have a philosophy. I said this a long time ago, the lesson of the light. It's not the job of the light to fight the darkness, it's the job of the light to shine through it. And so that's my personal belief and, and core of kind of my coaching. So in that case, that being said, gratitude journaling.
Hmm.
Like I love gratitude journaling. Like I think
Hmm.
it's a huge it's such an important practice. Definitely I think it's extremely important to surround yourself with people that believe in you. I think that's a huge thing. But that takes time. But the other one that doesn't take any time is to like gratitude journaling is to sit down and write down your strengths.
Hmm.
Like write down your strengths, like every day, not to stop there, but ask yourself like what other strengths might you like be able to develop? Like
And can I interject real quick on
go
that
ahead. Yeah,
exact
absolutely.
subject? So
Yeah.
I think sometimes, like in my own headspace, I might have a hard time finding what some of my strengths are.
Right,
So,
right.
you know what? Then you ask the people that you trust or that are in your
Yeah,
circle of
absolutely.
trust or that you love or appreciate,
Absolutely.
or maybe some of your mentors or your coach or things, your doctor, whatever, and just
Right.
ask them, what do you see as a strength that I have?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and I think by doing that, if we don't see it and somebody says, hey, I think you're phenomenal at whatever it might be, you'd be like, oh, wow, I am. I
Absolutely.
am, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we definitely all, I think, and if we really search ourselves out, have at least like one or two people that in our life are those people that they're not the type of people that sow doubt into our lives or the people that sow belief into our lives.
Absolutely.
And
And I
and
have, I don't think I've mentioned this yet on this podcast, but I do have a couple of beautiful people in my life that
right.
have referred to me as a living legend.
You know what I'm going to tell you though is statistically you are a living legend. It's true, but not just for that, just not for the reason I'm implying. I'm just playing with you, but you truly are like, and that's one of the
No,
reasons
I
I
know.
love
But
working with you on this.
yeah, no,
You
I
know?
think it's fantastic. And I am over the moon with the fact that I'm still here, right? And I know I used these words with you before the other day. The fact that I am here living, thriving, it's not lost on me. I'm oh so
Right.
grateful for all of the opportunities that I have and that I've been given and that I'm still striving for. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
But it goes back to that perceived perception.
Yep. Well, that's I think an excellent place to tie this one up. I hope everybody like, takes plenty away from this. That's really all I have to say. It's been good. I'll pass this back over to Tammy to close us out.
Thank you so very, 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 very much from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for tuning in each and every time that you do. We love you. Like and share if you know somebody that would love to learn from us, and subscribe. So thank you so much. And until next time, be well. Integrative approaches and healthier living.
See you guys later.